there's actually a ceremony long enough to list the many ways that you have enriched our lives and the lives of students at Thayer. Like Eric, you also joined the Thayer faculty in 1979, but for nearly a decade before that, you were a student here. First in the late 1960s to early 1970s as an engineering sciences major, then throughout the 1970s pursuing your master's, and then eventually your doctorate in engineering at Thayer. During your more than 4 decades at Thayer, you have played a pivotal role in guiding and shaping our approach to engineering education and research. While Engines 21 existed long before you joined the faculty, you transformed the course into what it is now and helped establish Introduction to Engineering as a project-based, real-world problem-solving, innovation-driven signature course that we know and love. You also co-founded the Orthopedic Device Retrieval Program at Dartmouth Biomedical Engineering Center with orthopedic surgeon and adjunct Thayer professor Michael Mayer. Together, you oversaw the growth of one of the largest collections of retrieved joint implants in the world, now more than 21,000. You helped identify and solve problems related to the production, design, and materials of joint replacement technology, and provided direct feedback to the manufacturers and implanting surgeons, leading to profound quality of life improvements for millions of patients worldwide. You have integrated your love of teaching and research beyond the classroom and labs, including welcoming countless students and lab members to your home for weekly games of pond hockey. I'm still waiting for the invitation. And for years, you have served as an advisor to the Dartmouth Formula Racing team to help students design, build, and prepare their cars for competition. From serving on Engines 21 review boards to advising and mentoring generations of engineering students, including many of your faculty and staff colleagues that are here with us tonight, who have taken classes with you or consider you a mentor. Throughout your expansive career, you have earned numerous accolades, including New Hampshire Professor of the Year in 2010, and one of the National Academy of Engineering's highest honors, the Bernard and Gordon Prize for Innovation in Engineering and Technology Education. But the accolades that probably mean the most to you are the ones from your own students. And in your own words, you have said that year after year, the people who inspire you the most are your own students. And your students have noted how year after year, you took time to learn each of their faces and names, even for 80-person courses, to make sure that no one was a stranger. So at this time, I want to invite one of your former students, and now Professor Doug Van Citters, to the podium to share a few words.
Chris, if it makes you feel better, I only have 2 minutes. That's 4 decades, Tom. I can't do it. So I'll keep you for 4. Let's imagine you won a sweepstakes, not Powerball, but the great academic sweepstakes, but the winning was one of 3 options. You could meaningfully and quantifiably change the lives of 50 million people. Through your research, you get to meet a bunch of them and see your impact firsthand. Or you could directly change the way thousands of people analyze problems, make decisions, and you know each of them by name. You know who they are outside of your classroom, and you know who they became as adults. Or you could profoundly change the way several dozen people approach the rest of their lives through mentorship, to the degree that they would stop at nothing to continue your legacy. So these are incredible choices. And most of us would be pleased with just one, but what you heard from Alexis is that John did all 3. So components of John's research program from the 80s, from the 90s, from the 2000s are still on the orthopedic examination. Every orthopedic surgeon takes a test during residency. John's research program is still there 25 years later, and it's cited, his name. This is the epitome of the teacher-scholar model unique to Dartmouth, because what did we know as students? We knew John's home phone number. We knew how to call and talk to Nancy because we knew that when he called 3709, John was on the excavator, on the ice, or out in the garage with the boys. And so what John taught us is there is a difference. There's a difference between numbers and values. We could quantify the number of WISP interns who came through John's lab, which is the high double digits, incidentally, since the program was founded. The number of engineering honors theses that came from those women. But we have a harder time putting a number to the number of Dartmouth athletes, particularly the women's hockey players, who found John's counsel to be central to their experience off the ice, then on the ice, through to Olympic gold medals. We can quantify the number of spousal teams that John hired to his lab, which is 3, but we can't quantify the broader example that this set for the rest of us, which is put family first. Value most people's opinions over your own. Nancy, Tom, and Rob had first dibs on John's time. He outwardly expressed his value in their opinions, their autonomy, and their non-academic activities. We could quantify the number of children that John put through this school, which is 2. But we need to value the principles that he employed to bring them through this program as independent and successful engineers, the ones they are today. And more broadly, many of us realized after watching John teach his boys in the classroom that John taught these same principles to his boys in the exact same way that he taught us, precisely the same way. They didn't get special treatment. We felt we did because we were his academic children. We could quantify the number of Zambonis that John has simultaneously owned for maintaining his pond, which is also 2. But we can't quantify the feeling of continuity in life that we actually got when we were invited from here to resume our academic conversations on the ice or in the woods or around the dinner table. But more importantly, how those that feeling of continuity turned into feeling valued when John brought the ideas back to us the next day and kept talking about them. And finally, we could quantify the number of cups of coffee consumed at John's second office, which is a special table at Byrne Hall. It is thousands of cups of coffee while advising and leading his version of office hours, but we couldn't quantify the valuable education that really came from his never telling us precisely what to do. Instead, teaching us how to figure out what questions to ask and then how to get those answers ourselves. So John taught us more than facts and numbers. He taught value. It was value in doing everything in moderation, value in giving back to your community, value in teaching through compassionate challenge, and value in asking lots of questions. So John, because of you, we know that knowledge and know-how in a broad social context are inextricably linked. I carry this through everything I've done since getting to know you. I try to instill it in my current students in the same way that you taught me. And so on behalf of the thousands of students whose lives you've touched, thank you, and congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you, Doug. So John, for your extraordinary contributions to our school and to our community, for the lives you have touched and livelihoods you have enriched, and for serving Thayer and Dartmouth with such dedication and enormous generosity, we want to express our heartfelt gratitude to you on behalf of Thayer. John, would you like to make a few remarks?
Well, Doug, you made this hard. I got tears in my eyes. I don't know if I can read this. So the goal is 40 years, 40 names, and 3 minutes. Let me thank you, Alexis, for organizing this celebration, and to all of you, the friends and colleagues who are here. My joy in teaching and researching was facilitated in large part, as you've already heard, by my wife, Nancy, who's my friend, partner, and mother of 2 boys, Tom and Rob, who are both students here, who both graduated as engineers. Our dinner discussions are often technical, and Nancy's hope for relief when the boys married. He had a bump in the road this year when Rob married another Thayer grad. Warm deal. But in addition to the warm family encouragement, I'm also grateful for the emotional support and fellowship of close friends, including Randy and Bridget Mudge, who have always been there at the important moments of my life. So in the beginning, you've heard some of this already, but in the beginning as a graduate student there, I was advised by George Collier, John Strobane, and Dean Carl Long, who later actually appointed me to be the first director of the Cook Engineering Design Center. Graham Wallace, Horst Richter, and Ben Sonnerup provided friendship and valuable advice. My closest collaborators then, and all through the 40 years, consistently were Dr. Michael Mayer, orthopedic surgeon, and Francis Kennedy. And what's wonderful is, thanks to Doug, the lab continues beyond our time here, the three of us. And Doug, as you know, current chair of engineering at the time, came through as a student. It was wonderful. He speaks so much better than I do. Thayer overseer Ralph Crump and his wife Marjorie funded some of my graduate research and later on endowed the Tribus chair, which I was honored to hold for years. I was extraordinarily lucky to have great students and a hardworking laboratory staff guided sequentially by Victor Supernat, Lauren Bardman, and John Collier. All of whom were wonderful friends and colleagues, and their spouses, Helene, Brian, and Barbara, were all strong researchers in the lab, giving it a family-friendly atmosphere. Together with a host of valuable, thoughtful, and innovative graduate students, we were able to solve two of the biggest problems in orthopedics: implant fixation and wear. One of the earliest student researchers was Bob Mile, who traveled across the country to be here with us today. Rick Greenwald is also here. His research led to valuable insights in ligament replacement. As you heard, I always loved teaching the project courses, and over the years, taught more than 1,000 students. Success was in large part due to the energetic and enthusiastic participation of Kevin Barron, Peter Roby, Doug Frazier, Chris Levy, and many others. As a team, we were able to teach the problem-solving methods developed and honed by former Dean Myron Tribus, Professor Bob Dean, and my great friend and mentor, Fred Hooven. I'm very grateful that I was given the opportunity to spend my career at Thayer School and to work with such a wonderful set of students, staff, and faculty. Thanks are also due to former Dean Hutch, who encouraged my work, to Daryl, Jenna, and Candy, who were always supportive and often educating me in the front office, to Amanda, Ellen, and Kara, who were able to take the inevitable challenge of dealing with the chaos and information overload associated with the project courses and turn it into a smooth, organized, and seamless event. Again, to all of you who have made life at Thayer so rewarding over the years, thank you.
Thank you, John. Once again, thank you and congratulations to all of you, Eric, Chris, and Alex, you too, for all that you have given Thayer and Dartmouth, truly. And thank you to all of you for joining us today. Please enjoy the rest of the evening we have together, congratulating and speaking with our honorees tonight. And I hope you have